So, good day, everyone. By the way, I am Shami Unica Iwag and taking course of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in theory. For today's video, I will discuss about what I have learned of Sigmund Freud psychosexual theory and Piaget's stage of cognitive development and Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory of development. So, in week 4, Sigmund Freud's psychosexual theory is the initial stage of personality formation is characterized by a baby's libido is centered or in his or her mouth. It gets a lot worse. Satisfaction from stuffing everything into his mouth to satisfy its libido and consequently its desire which are oral or mouth oriented. At this stage in life, such as sucking, biting, and breastfeeding, Freud stated that oral stimulation could lead to an oral fixation later in life. We observe oral personalities like smokers, nail biters, finger chewers, and tongue sucker all around us. Such oral habits are exhibited by oral personalities, particularly when under stress. And next is in week 5, Piaget stages of cognitive development. The stage of development proposed by Piaget describe how children learn as they mature. In the 20th century, Jean Piaget was a well-known psychologist and cognitive thinker who studied how children developed. His beliefs were developed through observation and documentation of infant growth, made the points that kids aren't just little grown-ups, and that their thinking is fundamentally different from adults. Additionally, Piaget thought that kids act as little scientists by investigating their surrounding to learn more about them. He believed that children naturally accomplish this without adult assistance. He proposed that concept of discrete developmental pieces during which children acquire language, memory, and thinking skills. And these are the four stages of cognitive development. And stage 1, sensory motor stage, from 0 to 2 years old. The sensory motor stage is the period between birth and 2 years old when babies utilize their senses and physical movements to comprehend the world around them. Infant begins to develop a sense of the world through their senses as they touch, grip, observe, and listen. Additionally, kids kids start to develop an understanding of object permanence or the knowledge that things exist even when we cannot see them. And the stage 2 is pre-operational stage is from 2 to 7 years. At this stage, kids continue to refine their abstract thought processes and build upon object permanence. As a result, individuals are able to consider ideas that are not limited to the physical world, such as previous events, language, and abstract thinking development in children. They can therefore consider ideas and notions that are not physical. According to this, additionally, they begin symbolic play, commonly known as a playing pretend, as well as drawing and discussing historical events. And the stage 3 is concrete operational stage. It's 11 years old. According to Piaget's theory, children at this age continue to develop, become more adept at abstract cognition, and become less egocentric. They can now comprehend that not all occurrences have an impact on them and that other people may interpret things differently. Children also acquire logical, tangible, or physical laws about items like height, weight, and volume. Additionally, They discover that an object's characteristic remain constant despite changes in appearance. Example, modeling clay. And last, formal operational stage. It's 12 plus years. Children get up more complex logic in this last stage of cognitive development in order to comprehend how abstract notions function and to resolve issues. They then use these principles. The youngster is able to deduce things from their surroundings. Based on what they already know, they can develop theories about what is conceivable and what might occur in the future. In order to comprehend abstract ideas and resolve issues, adolescents learn logical principles. They might comprehend the idea of justice as an example. And next, in week 6, Erickson's psychosocial theory of development. Erik Erikson was among the first to see character development as a lifetime endeavor. He created an idealized picture of what should transpire at each stage of human growth. His thesis adhered to the epigenetic concept, which states that for individuals to develop fully, a plan must be followed constantly. And these are the 8 stages of Erikson. First is trust versus mistrust from birth to 12 months. The foundation for the infants, anticipation that the world is a safe and enjoyable place to live is formed by the caring, trusting, and bond they have with their caregiver. The infant may become untrusting, afraid, and worried about the future if this stage is not effectively navigated. The stage 2, autonomy versus shame, from 1 year to 3 years. Infants and young children start to venture out and demand their independence. Failure to complete this stage may result in emotion of guilt and self-doubt. The stage 3 is initiative versus guilt. It's from 3 years old to 6 years old. If adults are too authoritative, careless, or make kids feel nervous by telling them what to do, guilt may emerge in the kids. So in the stage 4, it's industry versus inferiority. It's from 6 years old to 12 years old. If a child is not prepared to deal with the challenges of adulthood, it can lead to feeling of inadequacy and lack of confidence. On the stage 5, identity versus role confusion, it's from 12 years old to 18 years old. According to experts, failure to successfully navigate is the stage may lead to over-identification with peers or parents' belief, as well as misunderstanding over goals or six roles. On the stage 6, it's all about intimacy versus isolation or young adulthood. Forming close friendship or personal ties with people at this point may be significantly hampered by social and emotional isolation. And for the stage 7, uh, generativity versus stagnation or middle adulthood. Erikson examines the idea of generativity, which he defines as promoting the growth and usefulness of each generation. He contends that stagnation is the feeling of having done little to nothing to aid and support the subsequent generation. And for the last stages, it's all about integrity versus despair or late adulthood. According to Erikson, looking back on one's life might result in emotion of fulfillment and contentment if the person coped with the crisis connected to near death experience in a healthy manner. Looking back is more likely to result in despair if previous crises weren't successfully resolved. Erickson's theory of human development, like Freud, has drawn criticism for its emphasis on masculine development. In addition to the child's later separation from the mother, Margaret Mahler and others emphasize the need of the symbiotic interaction between the infant and the mother. And that would be all. Thank you.